Why is Marvel Rivals PvE better than Overwatch's PvE? Well, first, I'm going to explain what I mean exactly. Marvel Rivals recently had their Halloween patch, and with it came a new player versus environment game mode, which has a team of up to 4 players go through one of the maps, Midtown, and fight a horde of zombies, with 2 bosses at the middle and at the end of the map. In Overwatch, you had a team of up to 4 players go through the map from the game and fighting off enemies and having mini events like holding an area as well as killing bosses. Now, both of these game modes are extremely similar to one another, but Marvel Rivals has a more entertaining way to play the game. And I think that comes down to 3 main reasons. And before anyone says anything, I'm not going to talk about the unreleased PvE that was supposed to be Overwatch 2, as that's a topic that's years old at this point, and everyone kind of needs to just get over that. First things first, the gameplay. What Marvel Rivals does really well is make you feel powerful. You can start by selecting different colored cards, red, blue, and purple, with the red and blue being the primary ways that you can change your build, while the purple cards give you health, damage boost, lifesteal, and some other effects. You haven't even started the game yet, and already you've been given a choice on how you want your experience to play. And with that power from those cards, you can fight waves of zombies. And it's not like just 20 or 30 at a time, it's a lot of zombies. It's kind of like Risk of Rain a little bit, where the longer it goes on, the more buffs and stuff that you get, but also more difficult that the enemies get and how many there are. But like with Overwatch, at least in the early difficulties, you get like maybe 50 per area, and they're like super easy to kill and not really fun. You can really only play Overwatch's PvE like twice before it starts getting really boring. Quick side note, I do like the fact that in Overwatch's PvE, there's a lot more bosses. However, some of the bosses' attacks can feel really unfair, like when the assassin jumps on you. Not very fun. Whereas with Namor, if he puts you inside of his bubble, you can break it really easily. Earlier, I talked about replayability with the choices between the different builds that you can do. Even if you choose to go that same build, when you first start, you're going through the streets of Midtown, pushing to the end. However, at Nightmare 2 difficulty, it changes to where you spawn at the end, and it's just waves and waves of zombies. So by the time that you've gotten to the point where you're no longer wanting to play, it changes it up. Whereas at Overwatch, it doesn't have that. It just has the same scripted fights over and over and over again. Finally, I want to talk about the difficulty. And for the most part, it's pretty fair in Rivals. It gives the zombies more health and damage, but at the same time, it also gives you a lot more tokens to be able to afford a lot more upgrades. And the more that you play, the more you're going to be able to put more points into the stuff that you have in the pre-lobby. It makes you more powerful when you start the match instead of during the match as well. Overall, it's pretty balanced all the way up until Nightmare 4, but that's just near impossible if you're not playing Blade. Whereas in an Overwatch, it's just increasing the health of the enemies. So you're just sitting there shooting the same people for 10 minutes, and it's not particularly satisfying, and it's not really fun. Now, with all that being said, I know it's really unfair to compare the Rivals currently to the Overwatch from years ago, since they are completely different things, and no one's even really thought of adding upgrades until Overwatch 2 mentioned it at 2019. I still think that even if Overwatch's PvE came out, it wouldn't really have that same feeling that Rivals has with their PvE because of the way that each game plays differently. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it more than you can imagine, and I really like the steps that both games are taking to make their games the best it can be for everyone, and overall both games are really trying their best to make great changes. I do hope that maybe one day in the future we can see like a better version of the PvE that Overwatch does, even if the big one that they were promising at the 2019 panel, I really hope that like maybe Overwatch will do something kind of like this PvE and Rivals in the future, where you have different cards and stuff that you can upgrade and make your character a lot more powerful, or just change the way the character plays.